So this morning, as we are getting closer and closer to the Nativity story, as we celebrate Christmas together, the text that we're sitting with this morning is Matthew 1, verses 1 through 17. And this is an account of the genealogy of Jesus, and Matthew's gospel goes through many generations of Jesus's descendants, those who came before him. And let's be honest, it's if you've read through it once, you've probably made the decision to not really go back and read it again because it's just a bunch of names, and they're unless you've got a PhD in Old Testament, you probably don't recognize most of them. And it's just name after name after name, and then it gets into the good stuff. Then it gets into Mary and Joseph and Bethlehem and all the fun things that we like to celebrate. And yet there is something powerful, there's something beautiful in beginning Matthew's gospel with this genealogy account. And in some ways, Matthew's gospel begins with this in order to explain to God's people that Jesus is here, and he is here as a continuation of God's people, and he's here as a fulfillment of their purpose. That he is the continuation of who God has called forth, and he is the fulfillment of their purpose. Jesus himself declares it. He says, I'm not here to abolish the law. I'm here to fulfill it. I'm here to, and the law, of course, was presented to God's people to explain to them the ways that they might walk in step with their Creator. So Jesus, of course, so in many ways, like, that is the purpose of this genealogy, to remind God's people that Jesus is here as the continuation of them and the fulfillment of them and their purpose. But it's also, when you take this much of a deeper look at it, you realize that there is this lineage that Jesus is the continuation of. It's filled with deeply flawed people, and as it pointed out in the devotional this morning, many of these people had made incredibly catastrophic choices with their life that resulted in awful situations for them or other people. And we see that there is this great, if you really are willing to sit with it, you realize that the people that we read about in Scripture, the people we read about, the biblical figures that we encounter when we look at the Bible, it is not a laundry list of people who have all figured it out right, who have all done it right, who have all been perfect. In fact, there's really only one person in Scripture that's identified as being perfect, and that's Jesus. Everyone else messed up somehow. And it begins with Adam and Eve, right? And it just goes from there. And so in this genealogy, in this lineage that is presented as, the people who went before Jesus, the ones who, provided the lineage for him, we see thieves, we see prostitutes, we see foreigners who, in this day and age when this was written to God's people, like, the foreigner, like the other, an alien, they were not regarded as kin. So we see thieves, prostitutes, foreigners, murderers. These are the people that Jesus descends from. And so we see, I think in many ways, what we can celebrate here is this acknowledgement that Jesus is the one who is the continuation of that brokenness. But he's the fulfillment in the sense that he takes all of that and he redeems it fully. And that Jesus welcomes the full depravity of the human condition, and in many ways does so calling those people family. And he welcomes the full depravity of the human condition, and he says, yes, I will redeem even that. So this morning, may you stare at the depths of your depravity. kind of a weird prayer of blessing, but truly, may you stare at the depths of your depravity today. May you take a long look at it with truth and honesty, and may you be filled with a grace-fueled hope that Jesus calls you family, as he says, yes, I will redeem even that. May it be so.